Hey, how's it going, guys? Ancient Rune here, back with another Wonderlands build video, and today I will be going over AmpShot. This is a Frost-Shivver gun build that focuses on weapons with strong one-shot potential. This isn't a one-shot bossing build, but just a high damage and one-shot type of build with guns that aren't really as spammable. I focus on amp and crits to deal the most damage possible. I also go somewhat dot focused, as it is really good for bossing with stabbomancer's contagion and brrzerker's amazing damage formula. It's not as good as Blightcaller's spirit storm, but it's still fun to do. The save file for this build will be in my Discord link down below. You can also find my Twitch where I stream Wonderlands and other games from time to time. And if you like this build, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't. And I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, and for the gear here, you want to have weapons with really high base damage or multiple pellets that do good one-shot DPS. Having a good dot also can help, and having high crit damage, as some of these guns do. You also want to use the From the Shadows reload enchant to keep up From the Shadows as much as possible. We also do take Blood of the Fallen, so this doesn't matter as much, but Blood of the Fallen requires a kill, while this is just reloading, and a lot of these have low mags to where we are reloading often. Some of the ones I really like are the Masterwork Handbow. It's just really satisfying with the high crit damage, the multiple ricochets. Kettle Drum has 25 pellets at max. Just really good and strong. Crossblade's just a very satisfying weapon, and also has a really good dot, as you can see here. 2.2k. It's crazy. I have this as 2 mag. This is probably the highest damage I've found. I don't know how high an 8 mag can get, and this is the highest 1 mag I've gotten, and this is only with 10% crit, while this is with 21% crit, which is very good and strong. Element doesn't really matter, just get what you get. Yeah. And then here for Cannonballer, I use Cannonballer mainly for bossing. It does have a weird angle that you have to get used to, but it has a 7,000 damage dot, which is crazy. And then you'll see here I go action skill start, increase status effect chance and damage. Mainly for the damage, but the chance is also great too, just because we're not really going to be reloading much during bossing, and it doesn't last that long to where we want the From the Shadows enchant, and this just helps a lot. And then some other weapons I have is the Envy's a pretty good weapon. Carouser is insanely good. This has 33% crit damage. That's the best one you want. It will have lower base damage, but this crit damage is just a mult with other crit damage, so it's very nice. KO Con can be pretty nice. It's just got a high ammo consumption, so it's not really a one gun through a whole run thing. Blue Cake can be really good for bossing. I just have it thrown on, not with the right enchant. I think this is max damage. I could be wrong. Great Bow is really good. This is the used version. It can't roll with an enchant, but it's still very strong sniper and amazingly good during mobbing. And not too ammo heavy, 2 ammo per shot, but it's really good still. Rain of Arrows, I haven't really messed with much, but that's one that you reload all the time. Sword Explosion can be just really good for bossing, and also can have a good dot to where it can be worth using. Catatumbo is really cool, where it does a splash lightning bolt on crits, and it's just a really strong gun when you use it right. And it's got a pretty good dot. You see 1.8k isn't terrible. I have a message here. I never messed with it, but it is something that you can spam and reload often with a good dot, which could be pretty fun. For the melee weapon, we use the Twin Soul for Amp and Echo combination. Amp will boost our shots and our dots, while Echo is just great for the occasional big swings. The element does not matter here at all, nor does the Chaos tier. The parts really don't matter too much besides the hilt mods. This does have 1.94 swing speed, which is the highest, which technically means faster application of this, but it doesn't matter too much. And then I go action skill start all damage. You could also go spellcast all damage. I have it on my spell, but these can go in either place. And then also, I don't think I have it on here, I don't, but you could use a peg leg. I'd probably use peg leg with amp. It'll give you reload speed and move speed. I don't find echo as wanted here as I do want amp. And then for the wards we want to use are ones with amp parts. The spirit orb, the spirit rune is amazing because it can spawn with 2 amp part. While it will also start regenerating when you stand still, so you can just really like stand still for a second, it starts recharging, and then you can keep moving. But also gives a lightning damage boost, so if we do have any lightning damage, it'll be really nice. And then because of the sigil, it's really easy to stand still if we need to. And we also have From the Shadows protecting us as well. A 3-parted amp shield will also be very, very good, as it will have higher crit damage, or not crit damage, amp damage, but it will have, it won't regen as fast because you have to wait for that natural recharge instead of just standing still. And then you want to use low chaos tier wards, as it'll mean less ward to refill, especially if it's just like emptied all the way from an enemy attack, then you were waiting a long time. It's great to combine these amp wards with the amp hilt mod from melee, because all amp damage is multiplicative with each other. So this 50 or 100% is multiplicative with this, what is it, 50%. So that's just amazing to have together. And then we use the low health enchant just for better survivability. Just really nice to have. And then for the amulet, we use a Thurge to get back from the shadows faster and as soon as possible. Skeep is also really good, as it will give survivability, as it's a healing barrel that just flies around. Do I have one on here? I don't, but it can be used, and I have used it before, and it's really good. Barbload is also really good, as with crossbow weapons, the ricochets from the crossbow that go out will double dip, so it's really good for mobbing. I go stabbomancer power here and all damage. That's the main things you want to look out for. Stabbomancer power extends from the shadows, which is the main reason we take it, and then all damage is just really good. You can also look out for dot damage, as you will see I have some status effect damage here. This is mainly for bossing, so you can have it on 2 separate ones and just swap, which is what I do, or you could just take advantage of dots while mobbing it as well. And then for the element, you just want to get anything that matches with the elements you want. The stabbomancer power and all damage or status effect damage is probably the main thing to look out for. Thurge isn't as impactful as we do have from Blood of the Fallen, so we get from the shadows fast anyways, but this just allows it to be faster. And then here we use an empowering sigil with frost to instantly freeze enemies when dots are applied. This allows us to take our time to hit crit spots. You also get protection from enemy projectiles. Not all enemies can freeze and bosses won't freeze, so you have to pay attention to that. But I'm pretty sure it should still give full icebreaker bonus when it applies a dot. When you freeze an enemy, it gives full icebreaker bonus, which is just a pure multi damage. So it's really, really nice. We go spellcast or action skill start all damage. As I said before, with a melee weapon, it doesn't matter where. And then you want to look for cooldown and radius parts, ideally. Status chance can be nice, but we already have a high status chance, as you can see here with the 66% chance. For the armor, I like to use the Mosquito's Mantle, as it gives a strong bonus element based on your damage source. And then it also rolls spell or action skill cooldown part, which is amazing. Both will work great. You want to use a Miastic Mail optimally for bossing, as it is just gives more status effect damage. Amalgam and Cavitides will also do great, but just focus on skill rolls and passives. The Stabbo like Blight combo is really good for dots, but also gives good damage skills. Exploit their weakness is a pure mult to our damage on this build, and stabbo power primary and just stab power in general is really synergistic with this build. And then the Berserker Spore is probably the highest / quickest damage for mobbing, as it gives points in Icebreaker, and it's just really synergistic with the Empowering Sigil. But in the end, you want any armor with beneficial skill rolls and good passes, and Berserker power doesn't matter here, as it doesn't affect anything really besides the bonus element, so just keep that in mind when looking for armors. Passives you want to look out for are all damage, gun damage, ward, recharge rate, area damage, and movement speed. Ward recharge rate is good just for getting that ward back. It's not needed, but I find it really nice. The rings you want to look out for are Shark's Veins, as they are best in slot for gun builds. It double rolls gun damage, but it also only gives 2 passives, unlike other legendary rings which can give 3. Want to look out for spell radius to get your sigil larger for better freezing area, and that weapon crit damage just for stronger crits. Active skill duration and cooldown are also nice passives to look out for, but definitely not a priority. And then we use Daemon Blight rings for bossing, as it gives stat spec damage and chance and duration. It's just really nice to have, and I've noticed an increase in bossing. All of them roll with stat effect damage, so it's easier to farm. And dots do not benefit from gun damage or gun crit damage, so that's why Shark's Bane isn't used instead for bossing with dots. Berserker is really synergistic for this build between Icebreaker and Empowering Sigil. It also has a good gun formula for gun support. Stabbomancer is used for From the Shadows and has some dot support from Contagion. And with Berserker from Breath of the Fallen, keeping up From the Shadows, it's just really good. We don't use Blight Color here, as it has some beneficial skills, especially for dot bossing with Spirit Storm and shield recharge rate, but it just didn't feel as good practically when I was playing, so that's why I did not go. I would go probably Berserker Blight Color for thematic reasons with the Icebreaker Empowering Sigil, but you could also just go a Blight Color stabbomancer build from the Shadows, but it doesn't really matter, as that doesn't care for the build right here. And now for just all the gear we go for the choices with the skills. We go Unyielding, as when enraged we get 1.5 max health regen, which isn't listed but really strong. Then we go Ancestral Frost to get down the tree. We go a third point to get down the tree later down here. We go Icebreaker, as I said before, it's a pure molt. We have the Old Ways, which is conditional damage, which I don't think we have anywhere else, so that is technically also a pure molt here. Instinct is really, really nice, as it gives reload speed and weapon swap speed. We go Cold Snap for movement speed. This is just really nice to have. Frost efficiency doesn't matter as much, since we are using an Empowering Sigil, which will instantly freeze. Armor defense cuts our ward in half, but gives a bunch of health. This is great with amp shields, because that means we are recharging less ward, which is just amazing. And then we have a lot of health for survivability. Blood Frenzy is to keep our survivability up. And Relentless Rage is also used for survivability. We don't go Iron Squall, since we don't care for fire rate here, as it's just like one-shot guns. It's not spamming down bullet hose gun. And then Blood of the Fallen, as I said, to keep up From the Shadows. Then we go Haste for the movement speed. The swing speed doesn't matter here. Movement speed, as I take here, is just really good for survivability. You just dodge attacks better. It's just really, really nice, and I think underrated. We go Potent Poisons for points in to help with Contagion, and also Exploit the Weakness. The duration helps with Exploit the Weakness. And then we go Swift Death, just because follow-up doesn't help here. Arsenal is too low of points. Nimble Fingers doesn't matter, as we don't do spell damage, and we don't use fire rate, as I said with Iron Squall. And Shadow Step doesn't matter, because we don't care about the crits. So then we go Elusive for survivability and shooting while sprinting. And then Contagion points for that bossing. Then here I go Village Idiot, but it doesn't really matter much. I go crit damage, status effect damage for the bossing, and then I go spell cooldown, but you could also put it in skill cooldown, but I like it here more. I don't put it in max HP and ward, as it would just mean I have more ward to refill, but also I didn't really feel like I needed to. I hope you guys enjoyed the build video. It was so much fun making this build. This was actually inspired by a Borderlands 3 Zane build I made that was also inspired from a Mara build by Stone Swan. So shout out to him and check out his builds at amarabuilds.com. I'll have it linked in the description as well as the Zane build docs, which has the Zane build I mentioned called CBA Zane. It's just so cool using weapons you normally wouldn't and make them super strong. Really shows how sometimes just shooting a gun on a general gun build can't really determine a gun's true strength. Again, the save file will be in my Discord link down below, and make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.